Canon EOS T7i or EOS 800D review. It might be a little old in the tooth, but the EOS T7i or 800D remains a solid choice for beginners looking to step up from their smartphone or point-and-shoot camera. It's best suited to those who like the heft and handling of a DSLR, because the specs are now slightly dated compared to mirrorless rivals, particularly with its video limited to 1080p. That said, the autofocus system, 6x shooting and battery life are all strengths that make it more than capable for still shooting and learning how to shoot in manual mode. But the T7i represents Canon's first truly significant update to the series, really since the T2i in 2010. The T6i got a new to its sensor and autofocus system in 2015, but that was a transitional change. But somehow, Canon manages to make this big change feel incremental. It delivers roughly the same photo quality as before and shoots a little bit faster once you discount how fast the lens dries. It still doesn't really match the Nikon D850 for photo quality or continuous shooting speed, though it still has the lead for video autofocus. The camera costs $850 with the 1855mm f4.5.6 STM lens, though regionally other kits are available. The T7i's body remains the same as its predecessors, but it finally incorporates Canon's dual-pixel CMOS sensor, a 3-year-old technology with on-chip phase detection autofocus that's in almost all Canon's other interchangeable lens camera lines. But it's the current sensor and metering system, the same ones that are in the EOS 80D, but with an even newer image processing engine. Canon still uses an anti-aliasing filter, which blurs edges slightly, on its sensors. Nikon does not, so Nikon shots look tons sharper than Canon's, and Canon's automatic white balance isn't as smart in cloudy conditions, while the T7i doesn't look as good when you do side-by-side comparisons. Judged on its own, most people will be quite happy with the results they get, especially if you'll just be viewing the photos on a mobile device. The colors pop nicely, skin tones look correct, and it has a dynamic range that meets the expectations for its class. Like most low to mid-range cameras, the default settings increase contrast, which means you lose some detail in the brightest and darkest areas. If you shoot RAW, you can pull out a lot of detail from underexposed areas, though not in overexposed areas. Once again, that's pretty typical for this class of camera. In practice, you can shoot as high as ISO 3200 that allows for relatively low light, like the level in a bar, without worrying about noise or other artifacts. The camera is adequately fast for typical kids and vacation photography, but it doesn't support continuous autofocus and auto exposure on its high setting. The camera doesn't automatically drop back to low or simply deliver a slower burst like it did with the T6i. So if you have it set to continuous AF and high-speed continuous shooting, don't be surprised when the shots come out inconsistently exposed with only the first few in focus. The safest thing to do is keep it on the slower setting. It's okay in low light, but like the ADD is a bit slower than the rest at low light autofocus. You probably won't notice, though. It also depends on the lens. Some are faster than others at driving to the correct position. As with the ADD, the T7i has very nice live view performance, just a little slower than when using the optical viewfinder. That will always be true on a DSLR because it has to flip the mirror for every shot. It's still much better than on the Nikon D5600. So if you plan to shoot using the back LCD a lot, this goes for video, too. Then you still need to get one of the recent vintage Canons.